Okay, this is it. Ain't much to look at. This is the car I bought from Ed Toll in Lambertville. Paid $1,000 for the car and a couple extra parts, which were a front piece off of 50 that goes under the hood, and I bought a new dash for it and a set of skirts. It's not in the best of shape, but it's the best that I could find in this area without going out in the Midwest states. Gonna have to pick up a couple new fenders for it. The side pieces that are missing are in good shape. Got them put away. Car's got a little more rust than what I wanted to work with, but it's one of them deals that you take what you can come up with, and this was about it. Building the car again. This time I've learned some ins and outs on what to do and what not to do. So hopefully this is going to save me some time and some money. I will be putting the 72 Pontiac Le Mans frame under the car, not a subframe this time. The only objections I had of the subframe was a considerable amount of work when you ended up getting the dry shaft made up and then adapting the rear to fit the car, and then you end up pulling the car down so low you had a little bit of a rough ride. So hopefully when I put the full frame under it this time, I'll end up with a better ride, hopefully. I understand the car will be lower before you even start to pull it down, so maybe I won't even have to pull the suspension down a little bit. I take these pictures time to time on the progress of the car. Tripped over the garbage that's in front of the car. But that's it. It's going to be a big job. I'm not going to try and rush it. Although where it took me 3.5 years to do the last one, I really believe that I can do this one in 2 years, with the advantage of knowing how to go about it this time, where to get the parts, and do the things once rather than 2 or 3 times like I did before. Twice the last car, I put taillights in this Mercury, and I ended up settling for the 3rd set. I put 72 Cadillacs in there first, then I put 54 Mercury, and then I ended up going to a 51 Mercury, and that's what I want to stay with. So hopefully all that fouling up that I did last time and money, that's going to save me and help me out a little bit on this car. Okay. As you can see, I haven't really got too far on the car. I cleaned all the floorboards up, and unfortunately they were in a lot worse shape than I thought, and all of these pieces that came down here and that was part of the floorboard were all but destroyed. If you can borrow a brake or buy one, I borrowed one. I bent the metal about what the original was, cut out all the old steel, and it's starting to fit pretty good now. So hopefully I can start to put this together tomorrow. I've only done the one side, but you can see a little bit of welding outside and new inner pieces, and this thing will be just about ready to go. Alright, just a little more fitting I got to do. I got to do some grinding before I can put it in, but
once I put these inner pieces in, then I can go ahead and put the outer rocker panels on, which I got from Mr. Merc in Minnesota, and I'm sure anybody that's dealt with Mercury parts is aware of this fellow who deals in nothing but Mercury parts. The floor, I had to replace 2 or 3 big pieces of the floor, 2 or 3 spots that are debatable, but I'm going to replace them. All this here, I'm going to get all the rust out of that. This is really in pretty good shape inside and out, except for that surface rust. After I finish my rocker panels, inside and outside on both sides, then I'm going to come out here and start replacing some of the metal that holds this outer lower quarter panel on. I've already talked to Mr. Merc about buying 2 doors and 2 fenders. I will see him in Carlisle, which will be next month. So at this point, I'm going to try and repair the floor and get that where I can paint it, and repair all the inner steel behind these panels before I put the panels back on. And from then on in, I'll be looking for a frame for a 72 to 74 Chevelle, or a Malibu, or a Pontiac Le Mans 4-door. I understand that frame fits under this car pretty good. I mean, it's not something that you just roll under and fold up, but I don't think it's going to be as much work as putting a subframe in and changing the rear and the dry shaft and quite a bit of suspension changes. So that's about as far as I've got. I really haven't worked on the car a lot. I didn't want to rush into nothing and end up doing what I did with the last car, which was doing one job 3 times because of not realizing what end result would come out. This way I try and do it one time, make sure everything's lined up, and hopefully it'll turn out good. In fact, I'm sure it will. I'm going to make it turn out good. So the next thing that I'll have on this tape, hopefully, will be the new rocker panels on out here, and these side pieces on, some body work done, and front end off, doors off, and hopefully getting ready to put it on the frame. So we're going to don't near the car because there's chemical on there. I know, it's taking a picture now. Alright, we're making a little bit of progress with the car. Me and Crystal kind of help me out once in a while, right, honey? Yeah. And we're finished with the floor at this point. Side panels the lower side panels I'm working on. I got a chemical on the car to get the rust off, rather than try and glass bead it off. I didn't want to lose too much steel, so I'm using a chemical to get it off. Bring Christy around there, she can get in the picture too.
Look at the camera.
Wait a minute, she wants to talk.
He's about done with his car, so maybe when he's done we could come out and look at it.
Okay. Christy, look at Grandpa. Hi. Isn't this great that we're doing the car?
Love and kiss.
Okay, that's it. Now I want to get some shots of the car.
Okay, let's go, kids.
Thank you.
Let's show Mama what we got. Could I still be in it?
Yeah, get over all the way around by the other door. Go ahead around by the other door. Okay, the floor is basically done. It's quite a job. I had to replace both the inner sections of the door, not only this part you see here, but where it goes in and rolls up underneath was shot. So, floor is done, and these inner panels are finished. And right now I'm trying to get the rust off the sides. I'm also working on some of the parts as I go along. If I get a bad weather day, I just work outside. This outside here, on the inner panel, all the steel has been replaced on this. It's at a point to where I can put the outer rocker panel, or outer rear panel on, and the other side I'm still working on. Panels, when I took the paint off, the one that came with the car, as you can see, the thing's totally shot. Whoever did the job on it, it's a real butcher job.
Pop.
What?
Didn't it come with these?
Not yet.
It didn't come with
So I took the best of the 2 panels, which was, I had a good panel in the front, but mine was shot in the back, so I took and cut the one in half and used two halves in order to try and get the best piece out of both of them.
Down the cellar and start to see things and take pictures of the things we see.
All right, let's look in the
Thank
shed
you.
first. Hold on. Here's the fenders that Grandpa bought. All right, I also bought.
That Grandpa bought.
Well, you're not going to get a very good shot, but I went and got 2 doors and 2 fenders from Mr. Merc. One of the doors is dented up, not real bad.
But he could fix
None of them have
them.
any rust.
But he
And
could
I'll
fix
start.
them very easy.
Yeah,
He
that's
could fix
right.
them.
I'll start stripping them down very shortly.
Now, we're down here to see some more things that Pop got from car shoes and the junkyards.
Very good. Okay, now first we'll show them the hood or the trunk lid.
First, we're going to show you the hood or the trunk.
All right, let Pop talk for a few minutes. The trunk lid there is ready for primer. I've been real fortunate with picking up stuff. These skirts are off a 51 Mercury that had 6 miles on the skirts. Long story to it, I'm not going to go into it, but that's what was on these skirts, 6 miles. The grill, which took me 2 years to find last time, and I had close to $1,000 in chrome work done on the grill because I had to have it done twice. I ended up lucky enough to find this grill on a junkyard in New Egypt, which is in beautiful shape. I'm not even going to have it re-chromed. Picked it up for $80. And this dashboard came out of a 51 Merc that had an original 14,000 miles on the speedometer. That is the correct miles on it. Went up to Carlisle this weekend and I picked up 2 new bumpers and some headlight rims, some odds and ends, peak mirrors and stuff like that. But I'm starting to get the stuff accumulated that I want. I still need a few other things, but
Are you already done with the welding?
well, the other side's done. This side here is done, all except the piece I got to make for here. I'm going to make that now, and that'll finish this side. This was in a little worse shape than the other side, but not too bad. I just about got this. Make this piece, I'll finish this, and then I'm going to start in the trunk. So all I got to do is make a piece for right here, right now. I'm going to cut this old part out. I'm going to make a paper template on it. Is that on or off?
On.
It is? Like, where's the light that usually... Now I'm going to that go.
Is it on? This is my baby salamander and Pop's car, he almost got it finished, so we're just going to clean it to just take the camera out here and keep some shots. So, maybe I should leave you alone, please. Bye.
Fine. All right, let me take some pictures of it. Okay, as you can see, it's June the 10th. I've been working on the car pretty steady. Making pretty good progress. My son-in-law, Billy, has been coming over and giving me a hand fine-tuning. I'm trying to do the body work, and then he's coming behind me and more or less straightening out what I'm doing. You can see these two inner panels are finished 100%. The two outer rocker panels for upper fenders are just about finished. The one side is done. This side here, I'm waiting for Billy. I think he's coming over tomorrow. He's going to fine-tune this one for me so I can get primer on it. The trunk is done 100%. That's been, all the rust has been removed. I replaced some of the steel in there and fiberglassed it and undercoated it. Right now I'm bolting this one side panel on to see how it lines up. I want it on there before I do the body work to make sure it's just about where it belongs and the door and everything closes okay. The top section is finished. Billy finished it for me last weekend. The only thing I did was some wet sanding on it. Lo and behold, my son-in-law John got the title for the car for me. Was starting to get me pretty concerned because it's been 3 months I've been trying to get a title for it. I've got a little over $4,000 spent on the car right now, and I was starting to get somewhat nervous with that kind of money spent on a car. If somebody comes back and tells me, no, you're not going to get a title for it, so somebody... You want to say something? Panels, I'll finish the body work on them after I get them on and lined up. I want to do that to make sure that I got this right bow this way and this way. Make sure the door will close right. Oops, sorry for so long. Okay, as you can see, it's July the 15th. We're making some decent progress with the car. Both side panels are being close to being done. I hope to have them done by the end of this week. It's not going as quick as I anticipated, but what's new? Trunk is finished. I'm hoping to have that on by the end of this month. I'm shooting for... Yeah, close that door for Grandpa.
Get up and close the door so they can see how it fits.
Don't let it swing back, whatever you do. Once you start, don't let it get away from you. Rocker panels are in, both side panels are in. These doors are on permanently. They're not, they don't need to come back off. They've been fitted and on and off a couple times. All the mechanisms are in it. Alright, go ahead. You can close it right up. The doors haven't been done yet, but you can see that the car is starting to shape up now. There. Hey.
Mom?
Okay, you can see the tail lights are recessed. They're done.
Mom, look at me. Pop.
Yes, darling. Grandma? Yeah, she's something, ain't she? Okay, this side of the car, I'm going to work on this side panel today, but I'm at a point to where it's starting to shape up. Come on, close this door too, hon.
Mom, get a picture of her.
All right.
Get a picture of her.
Okay, fine. Close that door.
Push it a little bit harder so it closes tight. With your finger.
All right, fine. So here's where we're at. We're making progress. You can't race through these things, but it's turning out right. It's turning out straight. And I'm trying to make sure I don't make any of the foul-ups I made last time, which cost you 3 times as much work. Okay, now what would you like to say about the car, Crystal?
I think that so well that you're getting it done. I think it looks nice.
Think it's turning out nice?
Yeah.
Alright. You think it's going to be better than the first one?
Yeah.
You do? Alright. And don't forget, when we start welding on the trunk, probably tomorrow, you're going to help me do the welding. Remember, you're going to put the welding helmet on?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's about it for right now. I don't want to take a long shot and make it boring, but as you can see, the car is starting to shape up. And that's about it. You see, there's nothing to it. Just keep sanding. Now, let's walk out the car and I'll show the door. And the 2 sides are done, which I'll show you right now. The floors are just about finished. Now both side panels are finished on each side except for finish paint, a little more wet sanding. It's taking a little longer than I thought. Just realize that, but there's both sides on. A little more wet sand, they're ready for painting. And the 2 doors are, this one here is close, I might give a little primer at today. The other door, I got some welding to do on that, and some dents to repair. And the trunk is just about ready for finishing sanding, so I'm getting there.
Isn't this motor right? I mean, you're not using
No.
anything?
No. Front end's going to get cut right out of it. Hey, as you can see, I'm getting ready to start to work on the front end. My wife gave me a hand taking the front end off this morning and setting it next to the other Merc. I'm pretty close to putting the doors and the trunk back on the car. Shouldn't have to come off again. Of course, I said that before. And I'll pull this motor out probably next week and start getting the firewall stripped down a little bit, maybe getting some dimensions for cutting that front frame out. Still going to keep the car out here for maybe all of September and try and get the underneath of the car cleaned up a little bit before I roll it in the garage. But it's starting to shape up. Just waiting for my MIG welder. I got a little bit of finishing to do on the inside of the floor. But the parts that I've been working on will start to make the car look like it's going to be a finished product pretty soon. Trunk's ready. Skirts are ready. I got the dashboard ready to paint. One door's done. This one's almost done. And as far as garage projects go, I'll start working on the hood very shortly. But I'm at a point where I need to get some of this stuff finished painting, like the underside of the trunk and the inside of the doors and the framework around it. Alright, here we are again. And all them stories that I've been telling on this tape about the next time we show the car, this will be on, that'll be on, this will be finished. Well, this isn't on, that isn't on, and it ain't even close to being finished. Maybe I'm trying to be a little bit too meticulous, but anything that I might have missed with the last car, I'm making sure I don't miss it on this car. I do have some of the parts ready for painting that I said I would be ready to paint and put on. That will absolutely happen next week. And as far as starting the motor, I was shooting for the end of September to start the running gear. That's going to be close. I'm going to maybe work on the frame, the underneath of the frame
as long as I get decent weather out of here. So it might be mid-October or late October before I pull it in. But I've just continued stripping it down farther and farther in order to try and do it correctly. It's turning out good, but it's not going as quick as I thought it would. Inner fender panels, I'm trying to get them to where they look good. They're going to get painted the finished color of the car. And in order to do that, they have to be wet sanded and done as though it's the outside of the car. But that's what it's going to take to make me happy this time. It's got to be a showpiece under the hood. I don't want it to just look nice. I want it. Here we are again. Today I was going to work on the car, but I couldn't because we've got a miserable rainy day. But I'm kind of glad that we did, because I'm getting set up to do the painting. Today's Saturday. I'm either going to do it tomorrow or Monday. These are all the parts that I've been working on for quite a while, and I got them set to where I'll try and paint them all in one day, and then spend a day or two trying to get the inner part of the car ready. Come on, you yo-yo. But things are turning out. Okay, here we are. I said that we would get it painted sooner or later, so finally I got something going. We're starting to get this thing painted, and hopefully next week I can start putting the doors and the trunk on and go to the front end on the car. Everything turned out good. Billy came over, gave me a few tips on how to paint with lacquer, and I think it turned out real good. I'll leave these sit for 30 days and then go ahead and buff them out. I'm happy with the way things are going now.
Come here, Bobber Boo.
Bobber. Pretty Mom.
Bobber, look at Mama.
Look at Grandma.
Getting in there, you want to get in the picture? Try and get the dimensions of the old car in order to make sure these fenders are spread exactly like they ought to be. In order to where I don't end up going back too far on one side and then not far enough on the other. Move that. Sure that our temples are bad. Hey, why don't you got narrated? You can see I finally got the front end on. Doors are on, lined up. Trunks on, lined up. The front fenders are on. They are lined up. They're going to come back off again after I make sure everything fits the way it ought to.
and then I'll take it off, do my welding and body work and get it primered. Right now I'm just setting the grill, trying to get the grill lined up, moving it back just a little bit at the time, and then when I get it right where it belongs, then I'll go ahead and make up the brackets. I want to weld the brackets on the inside of the fenders. That way it won't take a nut and a bolt and put them on. It'll just take a bolt with a nut welded on the inside of the fenders. But it's starting to shape up. So it wouldn't scratch the door when I close the hood. Okay, as you can see, the front end is together. All the welding is done 100%. My cousin Ed's coming over and giving me a hand adjusting that hood today. It's a nightmare. It ain't fitting just quite right. But I'm hoping that this one right fender, I'm hoping to have the primer on it by the end of this weekend. I'm going to try and start the other one, but if I can finish the one and get some primer on it, then that's good. So maybe by next weekend I'll have the front end finished and can take it back off the car, and then I'm going to roll the car in the garage. Okay, it's December the 7th, and I was working on this car pretty steady up to about a month ago. I had to go in the hospital, and that held me up for a couple or 3 weeks. I've been working on some of the small stuff. I took all the heating components out of it, painted it, and took care of the firewall. And I was going to put the frame and the motor under it now, but because I lost that month of not being able to work outside and get the subframe out of that Chevy, I decided to go ahead and do the chop now instead. This way I'm working in a heated garage rather than running out there and trying to take the subframe out of the car and the motor in the cold. And plus I'm not supposed to be doing any lifting of any kind, so I figure this way I can come in here and pretty much do the top at my pace and work in a heated garage. Now, last time I chopped the top, I chopped it by articles that I had read and people that I talked to, and I think it turned out real good, but the thing that made me laugh about it was that when I read the articles, it said this job takes two-day weekends, and it took me months, maybe 6 months, I guess. Now, either they had some damn long weekends, or 27 different people doing the chop, whatever it was, it didn't work that way for me. So I'm going to try and keep track of how long it takes me to do the chop. I do have a tape that I'm following this time. It's a pretty good tape on how to chop it, same type as I did, slant roof. There's a couple things I'm going to do differently that I really didn't care for the way he did it, but basically I'm going to follow this guy's instructions on how to do this chop. That's about all for right now. I'm going to take a few pictures. Okay, I got the car leveled up completely, both ways. I got cross bracing inside welded to the inside frames. Also bracing coming from the dashboard area down to where the back seat is installed. And I got all my marks on the post and the rear of the car, all except for the doors. And I'm going to double check the doors first before I mark them. I probably will cut the doors at the same time I do cut the post, and try and make all the cuts at one shot. I got to make some bracing up to hold the roof up once I cut these out of place, but today's Thursday, and Friday we might be going up to Washington to pick Barbara up from the hospital, so I'll just cancel that day. And Saturday I think I'll come out here and give it a go. If everything goes right, I should be able to cut the roof completely. Okay, here we go. Today's Saturday, and I got all my marking done yesterday or the day before, and I came out here at 9:30, and it's just about 20 after 11, so with 2 hours of cutting, a little less than 2 hours of cutting, and help from my neighbor Scott next door, I got the top off and set it on the floor. All the cuts are right on the marks. I'm not quite sure about the doors. I might recut them, so I didn't cut the pieces out. I only cut them off. Nothing moved. When I cut it, everything stayed right where it belonged. And I got it sitting right on the floor here. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my braces underneath this here and do some trimming, a little bit of filing across the top of these to make sure they're nice and square. And by that time, Stephen will be out of bed and he can help me put it back on. But it comes off real easy. Really ain't a whole lot to it once you get all the marks cut, but now is when it starts to really run into the technical work of lining it up and making sure everything is square and in line. But I feel real good about it. You kind of pull your end around and I'll pull mine around, but let me get over here first. Alright? Okay. Okay. You come around there and help. Oh, looks like we don't need help. You did good.
Well, why don't you wait until that wood is pour it out of there?
Move it up towards the front where you got it notched out. Gotta lift a little higher. Okay. That's all I need, babe. Hi? Gotta come to you? Yeah, I got the same thing here. It's alright. Okay, give me a kiss. Yeah, that's alright. That all gets jiggled around. Hey, thank you, man. You did great. See how you helped me talk to Merc? Look.
Oh, you wise,
Okay, all I got to do is line that up a little bit, and then maybe get it tacked. Thanks for your professional assistance.
Come on, hide and be blood. I don't help you anymore. Dad, look.
All right, love you. Okay, there it is. Set back on. Now all I got to do is start stretching and leveling and maneuvering, and we'll get her.
Get on there.
Look at the front post, and that'll tell you something. It kind of, it gets a little scary when you start to try and put this top on, because it appears that nothing's going to line up. I had this before, and of course I'm going back 6 years ago, so you kind of forget it, but as you can see, that top's in a good inch on this side, same thing on the other side. So there's a considerable amount of adjustment to do here to try and make it fit, but I just set it on the top and I'm going to start prying and pulling and twisting. Today I'm wore out. It's 5:30. I've been out here since 9:30 this morning. I managed to get the roof on, and the back is lined up where it belongs, and the front posts at this point are finished 100%. They match up, the gutters match up, all the welding's done inside and out. It's a lot of work. I've been welding steady for about 3.5, 4 hours maybe, but it's starting to shape up a little bit. Tomorrow I might do something with the back. These door posts, they have to be cut yet and tilted in, as you can see, because the body angle is different now that it's been lowered. But it's starting to look like a chopped Merc now. And tomorrow I'll come out here, straighten up a little bit. Ain't nothing I can do with these yet. I don't want to. I want to get the back lined up. If I can get the back lined up a little bit and start getting squared away, Then I'll go ahead up to the center post and do the cutting on them. As you can see, once you move that roof forward, you're talking about a 3-inch difference in the post. It's quite a bit of work. Here we are. Today's Sunday. I did work on it today about 4 hours. I've got the 2 front posts lined up pretty nice, all welded, grind down, inside and out. And I took the rear window out of the Mercury from outside, and you can see that there's a fair amount of work to make this thing fit. There it is, just sitting in there right now. Tomorrow I'll come out here and trim it down a little bit, trying to lower it and get it to where it starts to fit. I'm having a little trouble in the back here, but it'll work out. It ain't something that's real easy, but we'll get it. That's about it for now. Just give you an idea what's involved in trying to lower this top 5 inches. They don't line up at all. You just have to do a fair amount of metal work and adjustment. And this is going to move up about 8 inches, and of course all the way down to where the other one is, and then I have to add in a pretty good piece of steel in the back here in order to make it fit. Here we are again. Today's Saturday, 16th. I've been working on the car pretty steady. I got the front post and the side post finished and both doors finished. Everything's going real smooth. Everything's starting to work out real nice. I'm happy with the way the door posts turned out. They turned out real good. Just to change this one piece here is about 3.5 hours work each side, and then to do the work on the door post, both front and back, and the mitering and cutting the pie shapes and filling in the pieces, they're about 5 hours each. So what's in this top right now is 41 hours right now, and that's working real steady, and trying to make sure everything's lined up just right so the rubber molding's going to fit. I don't want no air leaks in the car, and trying to get all the steel lined up as close as possible to use as little as possible body filler. Just getting lined up on this back window now. I've done all the welding underneath on the top side up here, and it's tacked on the outside. What I got to do, I want to bring that roof up maybe about 2 inches in order that I can bring the bottom back part up close enough to give me a little bit of room on that shelf back here, plus a little bit of headroom inside. Now last car, the headroom in the back, if I sat in the back myself, my head would touch the roof, and I would like to eliminate that this time. I want to have a nice smooth line on the roof. As you can see, I've got a nice smooth flowing line right now through the back window, and that's one thing that's real important, because I've seen cars where the guys did a real nice chop job, but you look at the roof and all of a sudden where the window is, it kicks back up again, and that really looks flunky. But this is where I'm at right now. Chuck Bull was over here today just to take a look at it, and said he's kind of on hold on his Chevy because of the weather element. He doesn't have a garage, unfortunately, so. But as long as I get done before him, I can't have him getting done before me, you know what I mean? I can't have no 55 Chevy on the road before this 51 Merc. Just kidding. This is where I'm at now. If I can just get the back of the roof picked up today and get this all lined up, and I'll cut that bottom ridge off the shelf. What I'm talking about is right here. Got to cut this off here so I get a nice flowing line from this point straight up to here. Now this is going to be picked up, like I said, about 2 inches or so, maybe 3 inches. But I want to get a nice smooth line on the roof, pick that up, and maybe make some cardboard templates today and if I can get that far, and then maybe during next week I'll come up out here a couple hours each night and start getting this back window lined up. Here it is. The back part of the roof is on the sides are finished completely. Across the top is done. All the inside welding on the roof is finished 100%. The only thing I got, and you can see I got the shelf cut off the back like I said I was going to do, and all the steel is cut and just clamped in the position. Now I got some brackets that have to go on underneath first. You can see them holes. That's just about where the old shelf is underneath. And I want some support brackets underneath there, and then I'll weld those right through the hole there where the support will be, and that'll give it the strength for the shelf underneath plus decent support for this piece of steel that's going up to the back window. So I've worked on it. I got now a little bit over 50 hours in the roof now, but the outside of it is just about done. I got my nice line across the back, and I got a pretty nice flowing line right up here on both sides. Window is naturally has not distorted because I kept all the bracing in there. I've had this thing, all the supports from underneath are now out and nothing has moved. So maybe this week I'll go ahead and get this piece welded, at least tack welded all across the back here. Once I get this finished, I'm going to go ahead and try that back window, just make sure it fits, and then try and get this steel. There's some high and low spots. I'll get the high and low spots straightened out before I go ahead and do any body work. But as soon as I get the back piece in, then it's a matter of rounding these corners off, such as right here. I want this corner, I want to get this rounded on both sides, and round this up here a little bit, get that rounded down there. Once I do that, then I'm going to bend all the stainless steel to fit, and I'll start working on where this side vent window goes in and the inside trim. So it's coming along pretty good. I would say that with 50 hours invested, that maybe this is about half done, and I don't know if I'm quite half done. I still got the inside trim, stainless steel, and all the glass, so it's still quite a bit. Maybe somebody could do this a lot faster than me. I don't know. It's when I do come out here, I work hard, and I kind of got a basic plan before I ever start, so it's not like I'm working in the blind, but it seems like a lot of hours, but I mean, that's about the best I can do. I don't think I could work any faster or any harder than what I'm doing. That's about it for now. I'm going to try not to take any more pictures until maybe I got that back window in and all the corners rounded and the stainless steel. So with the holidays being here, I'd say that I'm probably 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks away before I have, in 3 weeks, if I've got the outside done, which would be the rounded corners and the stainless steel and all that welding done, I'll be happy.
Oh, God!
Hey, the angel girl.
Hey, Mom, you promised you'd help me weld. I could weld.
Alright, well, Grandpa's just finishing up today, so how about the next time we work, Grandpa will help me weld. Or you can help me weld, alright?
Okay. Mom, where do you want me to put this? Mom?
Wait a minute, honey. Grandpa will get this done right here.
Got all snowflakes in my hair and everything.
This heat stainless steel works out real nice, honey. Okay. Now, can Grandma get her picture in there?
Here.
Check this out. And like that.
Are you going to weld that?
Well, pops are bending it so it fits this window. And that, and then I got a cut.
You
The battery's going off, is that okay?
Yeah, that's all right. It goes 7 more minutes after the battery goes bad. On that tape, it's cutting this time down on this thing. Absolutely incredible. And they're killed
My hands are cold.
with a stainless steel trim in this thing before.
Get a picture of Snowball. Get a picture of him.
And back. Just
What do
like
you mean,
chrome.
shine up?
Well, look, just like chrome.
Chris, please don't lean on me.
Get in there. The one piece here I'm not happy with, but I think I will take. I got extra trim. Well, I didn't cut this one. Clips to go on there. Man, that went around there nicely. Okay. Can I get a picture of Grandmom and Crystal and everybody? I know you'd say that. Okay, here it is, the day before New Year's. And the top of the car is all tied in, back windows tied in, and this side here, I've got the rounded corners on the windows, which you can see right here, and I just started to put the stainless steel in, which you can see that I got the back window in, back side window, and these windows I'll work on another day because I'm getting kind of tired out. What, honey? Get a picture of Mom now, she get mad. Looks like a Truant anyway with her hair out. So that's about as far as I am now.
When I call my hero.
Next day I come out here, I'll finish the rounding of the corners of the other side windows, and then
You still working on the same thing?
yeah, as a matter of fact, yes. By the way, this is my secret weapon. Name is Bill Runyon. I guess if you have 20 years experience. What the hell, he ain't moved from that spot all day either. You give him a little easy job and he turns it into a project. It's starting to look like something, though. Okay, that top represents about, on the top only, I would say, in about 125 hours right now. That's it for now. Alright, here it is, February the 8th. And the top, as far as all the metal work and the body work is finished, it has only 3 coats of primer on it. I haven't done any wet sanding yet, but that is completed. And right now what I've been working on is my inside window frames. Well, the inside window frames are done. Both the vent windows are finished with templates for the glass, which you can see there. And the other side I'm working on, that's all cut down. Roger took them into work, and him and a friend of his, Ron Penrose, welded the stainless steel pieces I needed to have done on that. So I'm putting the rubber molding in them, putting the frames together completely, making sure that they fit and they're watertight. And I'm also cutting all the templates for the glass. The two templates for the back side glass are just about done. Both the vent windows are finished, and both front windows are finished. What I want to do is make sure everything fits and works correctly before I go any farther with the body work. As soon as I finish the templates for all the glass and make sure everything works in the tracks, as far as spacing for the felt and nothing binding and just cut just right, then that'll tell me I'm finished with the body work and the steel work, and then I can go ahead and use these templates to have the actual glass made up, which is going to Trenton Auto Glass to do that for me. There you can see it's starting to come along. I'm still shooting for the end of April date to have this top 100% finished. And of course I'm looking for a little bit, not painted, but fitted and sanded and a coat of primer on it to where it's ready for just the last wet sanding and ready for paint. That'll include all the inside trim being finished, body work done to it, and the finished painting. At that point, then I'm going to go ahead and cut all my inside panels and probably start some stainless steel buffing as far as the vent windows and all the side trim that goes on the car that I have that's good. I don't really have too much that's good. The two back upper pieces are no good. I got a pickup, and my door and fender molding's no good. The only thing I have is I have a new piece for this back section right here you're looking at, the lower section. The upper piece on the door, I think that's good. I don't know. I got to drag it out when I start doing the stainless steel polishing, maybe this weekend. Then I'll find out what kind of shape that's in. But that's about where I stand right now. The pump's turned out real good. It's straight, thanks to Billy. I think the areas that I've done are relatively straight. But it's starting to shape up and look like an automobile. Right here has been buffed. So you can see, even though you burn it all up and it gets black, if you take a real fine sandpaper, when I say sandpaper I mean 400 grit, and try and get most of the black off of it and then buff it up, it comes up pretty nice. This one here I got to still install in the framework. And here we are again. As you can see, I got the panels for the car all cut, and that's the door panels and the kick panels in front of it. Rear panels are finished. My back panel for the deck right here, this is finished. And all the pieces for the trunk are finished, both sides, up in there. I'm sure that's probably a little dark, but all the panels are finished, ready for insulation. So I got them all done, all the clips are in, and I'm now working on my molding, inside molding. As you can see, the two front windows are finished, ready for primer. The front glass is finished, ready for primer, and right now I'm working on these two pieces for the back window, and hopefully I'll have these things ready to primer, do some wet sanding, and maybe paint this weekend. Today's Wednesday, and I've only really spent 2 days on these inner trim pieces. But all the templates for the glass are finished. Everything rolls up and fits right the way it ought to, and there won't be no air leaks. And the inside molding fits real good. So as soon as I finish these two pieces right here, I have to finish these 100%, including painting, because these are going to go to the glass shop. and I'll have him put the glass in them and seal them up for me. The two vent windows, they go as a unit. He'll put the glass in them, and that's a finished product. And of course the only other glass is the front. I'll put that in after the car is painted. And these two side windows here, no glass will go in until the car is painted, none at all. So if things go the way I want them to, this car should be ready to start the running gear definitely by the end of this, well, I say this month. Tomorrow is March. So if I can get these inside window trims finished within this weekend or next weekend, I'll take all the templates over and get the glass made, and I'll start the running gear for the car. Of course, the rear is in, the Chevy rear is in there. This piece here I cut out a night or two ago. I got it spaced and I got all my measurements for when it goes back on that Chevy frame, and that's hopefully I can use that, and then I can go ahead and bolt my front bumpers to that. And of course this piece right in here in the center, believe it or not, that piece right there, that's the only thing that holds the front of the car on. The only thing. The back, you know, I'm talking about the front end complete, which is the fenders and the front cowl part. And the only other thing that holds it on is this area right here, which is for bolting the rear fenders on. But as far as the support for the front, just that little bracket I showed you is it. So that's about as far as I come now. It looks like I'm starting to make a little better progress than I anticipated at this time. Probably March is one full year working on this car. I'm not sure which date. So when I hit the 1 year mark, I'll just kind of make a guesstimate of how far I am and how much more time is involved. But the car is going a lot better than I thought it was. I would say that the first car, in order for me to get to this point where this car is right now, probably took 2 years, maybe even 2.5 years. So in 1 year, that what you're looking at right here, the body end, this body is, I would say, 95% finished as far as being ready to be painted, except for some fine wet sanding. There's a couple spots that need to be looked in at the door. It's close, real close, but as far as what you're looking at right there, this body here is in good shape, close enough to almost be ready to paint it in no time at all. So if I go ahead and cut this frame out, which gets cut out right about right here where the two pieces of metal come together. The one piece you take out completely and the outer side stays in. That's the one that you slide the new frame in between. So maybe by the end of March, I said by the end of April I'd start the running gear. We are March the 8th, Thursday, and guess what happened? I finally made, in fact I more than made, I beat it, a prediction. I said I would start the running gear by the end of April, and things went pretty good on some of the inside jobs I wanted to do, and the car now is set up to start the running gear. The back is about where it's going to go as far as how low it's going to be. The front is raised up 3 inches, in fact 2.5 inches, and the idea of raising that up, I'm taking into account that once the front end and the motor goes in, the car is going to go down about 3 inches. Now I do have room that I can lower the back a little more. I'm hoping to put this suspension in the front. I'm going to kick it from the frame where it won't, I'll stagger it. And that way, supposedly the car will go down low where I want it without pulling that front suspension down. Last time I pulled the front springs down to bring it down an additional 1.5 inches, I would say. But the only problem with that is then you start to get a little bit of a rough ride.
So hopefully with setting it up this way and staggering that frame, I'm not going to end up with that rough ride out of it. So I did make one of the deadlines out of the many that I guesstimated on. I also looked at my tape last night and found out that the date I started on this was March the 17th, 1989, so I'm pretty close to a year in it now. I'm real pleased with the productivity that I've made on it. And one other thing I didn't mention when I was doing the top and keeping track of the time on it, the total time that it took me to cut that top, lower it, cut all the window frames for the inside and bend the stainless steel and do the body work and get primer on it came to just about 200 hours. So if you're thinking about chopping a top, you better be aware that we're talking about mega hours. My guesstimation is I thought I could do it maybe 100, and then it just mushroomed from there on in. But this is about it now. I'm ready for running gear. I'll start pulling it out of this Chevy, which is out here under the tarp. 76 Chevy Nova. Decided to go with the subframe rather than the whole frame of a Chevy Chevelle, and the reason for it being that the Chevelle has a 116-inch wheelbase. The Mercury has a 118-inch wheelbase, and what they did with that 2 inches, I don't know. I read the articles. The articles seemed to be a nice transfer, but I got real concerned with the 2-inch difference. So I'm going to go with the subframe again, just like I did last time. The only advantage I'll have, I will kick the front frame so I don't have to pull the springs down. And the rear end of this car, the rear springs are in a lot better shape than the first car. First car, the springs were shot. As soon as you move the car, it bottomed out. These springs got a little bit of life to them, so it should turn out good. That's where I'm at right now. And I don't really see myself making real good time on the front end of the car, mainly because the Chevy has to be disassembled. I've got to pull the front end off the Chevy and get the motor out of it first and set that to the side, and then pull the front end out. So I would say that the next shot I will take of this car will be March the 17th, only because that's a 1-year date, and we'll see. If by the 17th, I'm only talking about 2 more weekends away. I don't know if I'll even have the frame out of that car, but possibly I'll have the frame out of the Nova, and that's weather permitting. If it's decent so I can work outside. If it works out that good, maybe I'll at least have it in here and starting to line it up. But that's where I'm at right now. I'm real pleased with the car. It's going real good, and for the first time ever, one prediction worked out to the good side rather than always being wrong. Dirty job.
Dirty job, but somebody has to do it, right?
Your excuse. Okay, see, I got this front end leveled up and set, and I cut the front suspension out of the car this morning. Right here, this is going to junkyard tomorrow. Yesterday I took the motor out of the Nova and stripped the wiring down, took the motor out of it, got some dimensions, and a little later today I'll start taking a few odds and ends off of that have to be removed before I can take the front end out. But that's where I'm at right now. Everything goes good today. I got this cut out and cleaned up a little bit.
Hopefully I can get out here and pull that front end out of the car and just roll it in here. I don't really see me making any cuts or anything, but if I can just get it out of these Chevy and roll it in here, that'll be good. Tough now. It's tough for me now. There it is.
We want to get our house.
Look at her. Look at Mom.
You are a monster.
Mom, I'm gonna go to her house, okay?
Good for now. That's all I want. Thanks, Steve. Let's go back. Alright, there it is in place. It's just about finished. I've welded on it for about 3 hours, I guess, tonight. I would say that just fitting it up and welding it tonight, I probably, I quit at 9:30. I started around 4 o'clock, but the frame is lined up. I got a 1/4 inch difference in a cross measurement, which should mean nothing really, so I'd say that frame is lined up where it belongs. The car is sitting down just like I wanted it to. It's on its own suspension now, and the front will come down a little bit more when the motor goes in, which is fine, and I have room to lower the back, so when that front end goes down, I have no problem with that because I can lower that back end down and get it right where I want it. I want the car level when it's done. I'll finish up the welding on this frame tomorrow, and then, well, at least welding it to the other frame, and then I gotta put my front brackets on for the what's gonna hold the front the front fenders and the done with all. Alright, I think it's been a while since I took the last videos on this, but since I've taken the videos, the front end is in out of the 76 Chevy Nova complete. I just finished all the welding today, and the brackets for holding the front suspension up, which is right here that you're looking at, and the brackets for holding the front bumper haven't been installed. All the welding and the gussets and all that are finished 100%. So the frame is in there. I've had the front clip on, lined everything up, notched out whatever I had to, made brackets wherever need be, and I took that off this morning and finished up the welding 100%. And I'm now going to clean the frame down pretty good. The front part of the frame, all the back of the Mercury is finished. But I'll clean the back, front of the frame, and I've got a kit that totally rebuild this front end. It needs it, and I had bought it anyway, so that's why I got the tires off now. I'm going to go ahead and disassemble all the front suspension. I got all new grommets and bushings and swing arms, and I'll take care of that next. Check the brakes and replace the front bearings, and after I get the front end kit in and complete and painted, then I'll go ahead and put the motor and transmission in and dry shaft and then start the wiring. So it's going pretty good. As you can see, today's April the 7th, and if I can have the front end ready to put the motor in by the end of April, I'd be real happy with that. And I'll go ahead and work on that running gear. I'm not trying to push it. I've slowed down a little bit. The brake unit in, power brakes, is done 100%. It's all hooked up to the brake line, so those brakes can work right now. The steering is done 100%. I had to put the dashboard in order to go ahead and finish all my brackets in there, but it's starting to shape up. Now it's starting to look like it's going to be an automobile. So that's it for now. Front end right is here. I've had that, like I said, on. Okay, I don't know when I took the last shot. I didn't really look at the film, but just about completed with the front end. As you can see, it's painted completely, and the front end kit is just about finished. I got all the swing arm bushings in there and all new parts for it. After I finish the front end, then I'm going to go ahead and start the motor. But new brakes, new calipers, all new bushings, everything in the front end is completely brand new. I did this today. This is everything except the brakes. I'll put them on tomorrow. Front wheels, so I can put the brakes on tomorrow, the front wheels. Maybe I'll bleed it out and get the brakes where they work, and then I can roll out that engine and start my engine work. Everything worked out real good. Wasn't too bad of a job. I would say maybe 5 hours today. Total maybe 10 hours to do that front end. But it worked out real nice. Everything's nice and tight. Alright, May 13th, I'm not sure when I took the last pictures of the car. There really hadn't been anything done to the body work, but I've been concentrating on the motor itself. You can see the motor's in there. It's trimmed out just about completely. I'm getting ready to do some of the wiring hopefully next week. But I got the headers on, and everything that's going to go on the motor is just about on there now, except for the distributor. The transmission's in, hooked up. I don't have the dry shaft in yet, but just about everything I need to do to it is squared away except electrical. And I'll start the electrical next week. I got the new shifter in there. Be able to see too good in there, but the dashboard is in, it has to stay, and the shifter is in and hooked up. But I'm getting there. I said I'd shoot for finishing the running gear by the end of the summer, and I can go back on the body work. Maybe possibly it can be painted in September, October. I don't want to push for that goal. If it works out that way, great. The body work is basically done, but I want to do a lot of fine tuning. So when I finish the motor and all the electrical, and this is running where I can actually take it right down the road and try it, then I'll go ahead and put the front end on it and proceed to get into the body work real seriously. But that's where I'm at right now. I'm real happy with the way the engine looks. It's working out nice. Just thought I'd get a picture of the wiring. This come out of the Chevy. I'm going to attempt to put this in the Merc. Worked out pretty good with the last one. This will work out good too, I imagine. I got most of it tagged. There's a few more wires in this one because this one had some option to it, door lights and AC, a few other things. I'm going to start that this coming week. Okay, here we are, August 25th. I kind of slowed down on the Merc. Part of the reason was I took the time out to get the truck straightened out. Billy painted it for me, did some body work on it and sun visor, and got that thing to where it looks like a decent truck, new tires and rims. But I spent maybe 3 weeks or 4 weeks on that, so it was kind of lost time on this, but sometimes you got to walk away from it. Unfortunately, the two taillights, I wasn't happy with them. I ripped them back out, made new frames for them, put them back in. They now fit very nice. Satisfied with them, but I couldn't live with what was in there. Some of the things are in the car that are just temporary, trying to fit it up and make sure that things are fitting. Side window, I got to do something with that. Of course, that stainless steel will look fine when it gets its clips on and it's polished, but a little trouble with that particular side window. I'm going to order a radiator for this Monday, and that should finish the running gear to where the car can be started. The running gear in the car is finished. All the wiring is 100% done. All the lights, everything to the engine, dashboard, flashers, the whole package is finished, been tested, everything works fine. Also had to pull this headlight back out. Wasn't happy with this either. It didn't look right. Tried and readjust it, the frame, and it egg-shaped on me, so I had to get a new one of them and pull the old one out, put a new one in. But that's where I'm standing right now. I thought maybe September I could have it painted, but that's not going to be the case. Maybe, just maybe this winter. I'm getting there, and I slowed down. I'm not going to rush anymore. I can take this thing to Englishtown in April of '91. That'll be fine. But the grill has been in and checked out, and everything fits okay, and the lighting works on it. The only thing I haven't touched, I haven't done a damn thing with the hood. That's still sitting upstairs. That's got to be worked on, but I'm getting there. I can get my radiator in there within the next 2 weeks, as soon as they get it. Start the car up and make sure all the mechanical end is running, just wanting it to be. Everything's running all right. Then I can seriously get back to the body work, because that's almost the only thing that's left. Okay, that's it. That's as far as we are right now. Alright, as you can see, October 13th, it's been quite a while, I think, since I took any pictures. I'm not quite sure how long until I look back at the tape, but trying to fit some of the stuff up now because the mechanical is 98% finished. I think everything in the mechanical is finished except the tailpipes. I got to get over to Mufflex and have them make them up. Bumper's just a junk bumper, just to get my alignment and figure out where I want my tailpipes. But the engine's running. I've had the car out around the block a couple times. Everything seems to be shifting, all the gauges working. It's going good. I'm fitting up some stuff today just to make sure that everything fits before I do my final body work. And make sure it's all right before it gets painted. Okay, just wanted to finish out this film showing the stage that I'm at right now. As you can see, starting to put the trim on, check the clips, make sure everything's going to fit before I get it ready for painting. Still need some adjustment on the hood. Motor's in, will run. A couple odds and ends that have to go under the hood yet. So that's it for now. I won't take the next picture until I get a strip print. Okay, December 8th. Still fitting the car up. Put all the glass in. Trim's been on, back off. And all the little odds and ends I'm trying to take care of right now. I still got to do body work and adjust this hood yet, but just wanted to get a picture where I was at this point. I'm hoping that possibly by the end of this month might be able to go to paint shop. That's where I'm at right now. I don't even know when I took the last picture of this, but getting there slowly. Inside's in pretty good shape. I've got my radio and stereo system in. So maybe by keep on sanding, right?
That's right.
Don't quit, whatever you do. My fingers will be in good shape for a month. I should probably be ready to quit. Yeah, I got all the pictures. I'm pretty up to date, I think, with the camcorder. Pictures is the last one I took where it was all together, and now, you know, it's coming back apart again, so really you wouldn't see no... I gotta take this camcorder away and get it fixed. It's not working right. It ain't getting the color like it used to. I think maybe the head needs to be cleaned, but it's under a guarantee.
Well, if you ever shine in the sunlight, they ruin something inside it.
Yeah.
Oh, they're right there, but you shine that in the sun.
Well, I forgot all about it, but I took out a 5-year warranty with this. It's like 3.5 years old. Alright, you see it's finished painted, and Billy was going to wait 2 weeks, but I see the boy's getting a little bit anxious here. Incredible looking shine. Incredible. So I'm real happy. It's going back together now. I've been coming over here nights, just putting some of the things on it that I've got the okay from Billy. Anything that ain't going to get in the way of his buffing, but you can see it's getting close. I took a couple pictures tonight so I can send it away and get my insurance, and I can go get my plates. That shine there is unbelievable. You want to talk about a mirror? That's a mirror. I'm gonna put the stainless steel around the windows tonight. I got to sand down a couple inside the door jambs a little bit because he's got to blow them in. And he's going to put a couple more coats of paint on my skirt and throw a clear coat on them. That's where it's at. Date in here. Shit. There's your date. Remember how I said I was having trouble with this thing?
Yeah.
I took some pictures with it yesterday and they were fine. All buffed out. It gets one more buffing with, I don't know, scratch remover or some kind of, to get rid of the squirrels, but everything's on it except on here, except for the chrome strip that goes down the side. Might get a chance to put that on tonight, but skirts are still being repainted. Got some odds and ends I'm working on yet, but you don't get paint jobs any better than this one. Okay, sent away for the insurance today, so if I get that back hopefully in a week, I can put the tags on this and drive it on. There it is, just about finished. As soon as I get it home, I'll go over and get the upholstery ordered for it, and he should be able to get that done in 2 weeks and shoot for that Englishtown car show on the 26th. That's all I want. Alright, believe it or not, Christ, here's 4 hours just putting the stainless steel on the side, which you see, the pieces right here, and the 2 pieces up top, couple pieces on the other side, and the inside window trim. But it's incredible how much time goes in the car. I enjoy it, but I'm looking forward to getting this thing on the road now. And here's the only piece I'm missing, is this left front fender. This is not supposed to be a difficult piece to get, but I haven't come up with it yet. The piece that is impossible. I'll bet you there ain't 10 of these in the United States. That's this piece right here. This right front fender. You call people that deal in these parts and ask them for that right front fender molding, new old stock, and they'll ask you if you're nuts. And in fact, I've had 2 or 3 of them say, "What are you, nuts? You ain't never gonna find that." But I found it. So now all the stainless steel on there is new, and got some more odds and ends to do, but I'm getting there. A little bit each time. That's it for tonight. I'm going home. It's 8:30. I've been over here.
No! You gotta kick it, buddy.
Ease up a little bit, will you? Hi, hon.
Well, it's beautiful, Dad.
Yeah.
Very nice. What's that?
Now you kick it. Bob, now you kick it to them.
Well, that's been one time.
Bobby, now you kick it first, Steve.
Yep, thanks, hon.
And they'll take it back.
Boy, that stands out like a sore thumb.
Well, that looks good, buddy.
See that stern wheel, huh? In there?
I'm going around the front.
All painted. All done. Hi, Mandridge.
Mama's taking your picture.
Hey, you see Pop-Pop's car? Mander. You don't want to look?
Just stand by the car. Over here.
That's Pop-Pop's new car. Isn't that nice? It's all painted. It's all painted and done.
Down a swivel.
All next to your upholstery. Okay, okay.
Here it is back. Finally, this is the day after. So I got it back May the 20th, last night at 11 p.m. He had it 7 weeks. I was pretty upset about him having it 7 weeks, but that's the price you pay sometimes when you're shopping for price. And
The guy's workmanship is excellent. He ain't lost nothing. As far as his touch boy, he's got it. A little more extensive on this, tighter pleats, a little more design in it, a little more work to it. As you can see, at this light on here, guy did a hell of a job. All rolled and plated headliners, all vinyl. Had the seats all puffed up around the sides. Very, very happy with the upholstery job. It took 7 weeks and 3 or 4 screaming matches down. This is the last of the pictures to go on this video. Car is now completely done. Wasn't completely finished. Last shot I took of it. But now I got my wipers on, spotlights. It's ready to go to show. It's going to go this Sunday to a show in Englishtown. So looking forward to that. It'll be my first show. Billy buffed it up for me this weekend. I put a wax job on it. I took some pictures of the inside. It looks pretty kind of like dingy, so just take one more shot here. The only other shot was the trunk. Ride's good, handle's real good. That's it for this video. One completed 51 Merc. With a little bit of aggravation and money, you can build it. There it is, first car show. That makes it worth it. But it's worth it whether you get one or not. But 150 cars came in 5th, which made me very happy.
What tape you have in here?
This is the original tape of the way that sun is. That sun's in a bad spot probably for me to be taking pictures. This is the original tape of building the car house. Here, hon. I don't know if something's wrong with it or find out when we try and take the film, I guess. We'll look at it. Gotta put the date in here too. This is the Wildwood show. As you can see, May the 9th. They didn't draw that many cars. They only drew maybe about 100, but it rained all day yesterday. We came down here in the rain. It rained all through the night. Today we got up, it was pretty nice. I guess it's about 60, but it's warming up.
That's when I told you I saw a piece of my Connie. That's when I told you.
grandkids.
Come on, come here, Chris.
This is Roger's boy, Bobby, and Christopher. And little Michael, that's the newest.
No, it's not the newest.
Oh, it's not the newest. Then there's Christy and Amanda, Barbara's, and then Debbie's brand new baby, Billy.
Hi. Hi.
Steve wants to say hi. Let him have a look at your ugly mug here.
How you doing, Ron and Jean?
We're all going to ship them out to you now.
Yeah, we'll let you take care of it for a while.
We think about you all the
There's
time.
3
Hope
more.
you're doing great.
Where?
And there's still 3 more that are missing
And
right
Norris.
now.
Norris.
It's your Norris kids.
All
But
right.
Mom babysits every Sunday all these kids.
Okay, we just want to say hi. After you watch this, just then you can flip back and scan through whatever you want to watch of the tapes of the Mercury. You want to get in there, Raj?
But you have to
Huh? Yeah, let me get pictures of you too.
Well, I was there first. That's what I'm going to use.
How you doing, Ron and Jean? Hope everything's going good down there.
Okay, everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
We're out of here.